What's good, everybody? It's your boy D Nice with I2G Radio and the Viva Las Raiders podcast. Back at it with our first quarter progress report for the Las Vegas Raiders. Before we continue, urge everyone to like, comment, and subscribe. We are on I2G Radio. That's the letter I, the number 2, the letter G Radio. Also on YouTube, the Viva Las Raiders podcast. That's the word Viva, Las, L-A-S, Viva Las Raiders podcast. Raiders with an S. But without further ado, let's get into it. First 4 games of the season. We did this last year as well, giving a first quarter report, progress report, where I think the Raiders are at. Again, views expressed here are of I2G Radio. Before I continue, also, that is on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, I2G Radio. But we did one of these last year. Thought I would do it as well. Kind of every quarter of the season, just give kind of my grades on where I think things are at. We'll do this position by position on offense, defense, special teams, coach, and then maybe some things I would like to see moving forward into as we get closer to the halfway point of the season and the bye week for the Raiders. So, first and foremost, we're going to start at quarterback, Geno Smith. You also have backups Kenny Pickett and Aiden O'Connell, who is eligible to come off of the injured reserve. This will be his, if they decide to bring him back, he would be eligible to play if needed against the Indianapolis Colts. I haven't seen any reports since he had that fracture in his wrist that he will be playing, but something to monitor. As far as a grade, so far I would give it D-. And really with Geno Smith, even though he's a top 5 passer as far as passing yards in the league, he has 6 touchdowns, he has 7 interceptions. And it's really, I don't know if he's in a funk or he's just not seeing things, but it kind of reminds me of whether it's like if you want to use a boxing analogy, I've heard people say with fighters, they can get old overnight or their reflexes start to deteriorate as they get older, or a pitcher loses his fastball. That's what it kind of seems like, or kind of feels like, when you're watching a Raiders game this year, especially with Geno Smith. A lot of passes into double, sometimes triple coverage. I don't know what he is or isn't seeing, but the passes that, I've seen in press conferences, he's talked about this and said, I'm making all these passes in practice. Practice in a game, 2 completely different things. Like I said, I'm not here to bash Geno, but something out there visually he's not seeing. And what's even tougher is the short or intermediate routes he's not hitting or even attempting or taking those routes at this point. So a lot of it is a lot of the deep passes, but he's not taking what the defense is giving him to work up to taking the big shot. So it makes it a lot easier for the kind of defenses to key in, kind of play back, whether it's man or zone, and say, hey, we're taking away the big splash plays that you had week 1 against Patriots. You're going to have to take the short intermediate routes and go from there. And so far, hasn't really worked that or integrated that into the offense for Geno. I think he can bounce back. I'm not going to say he's not going to have any more interceptions for the rest of the year, but he's got to curb the turnovers. It's really hurt the Raiders against the Chargers, and it came back to bite him in the ass again. All of the 2 home games, the Chargers and against the Bears, turnovers have been crucial and have really hurt this team. But I do think that Geno will bounce back. And again, he's going to throw more interceptions. You just don't want a Jameis Winston type situation where it's like 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. So hopefully moving forward, that's something that he can improve and work on. Next, we're going to go with the running back position. And I give their running back position. You have Ashton Genty, you have Raheem Mostert, and you have Zamir White. Dylan Lobby also has sparingly got carries and receptions as well. I'm going to give this room currently a C+, and it is trending up. Ashton Genty obviously had, kind of built momentum from game to game. I think first game had maybe like 30, 38, a little less than 40 yards, but did get a touchdown. Had a really rough game, couldn't get going against the Chargers. Then against the Commanders, had a better game. I think it was around 60 yards. Really had his breakout game last week against Chicago Bears, almost 140 yards. He was the FedEx Ground Player of the Week. 3 touchdowns, 2 receiving, 1 on the ground, 64-yard touchdown. Sure, if you watch football, you've seen the incredible highlights. And it's the longest rush or longest run by a running back this season. So you see the explosiveness. You see everything that you've seen in college. The possibilities are there, but a lot of it is, has been the offensive line. And even Genty himself has said, I haven't played my best, but he's improving game in and game out. And that's why I have this at a C+. If it wasn't for that game, it probably would be a D or a D- so far for the running back room. But it also ties in with offensive line, which I will talk about here shortly. But sky's the limit for Ashton Genty. Raheem Mostert also had a good game, 4 carries, 64 yards. Good change of pace back with Genty. I think moving forward for this Raiders team, not only to win more games, but to be competitive and have an advantage when they do have a lead, they're going to have to lean on that running game a lot more. Time of possession, this is Pete Carroll football. And I think he's now kind of seeing a direction or a way that he can get, along with Chip Kelly, offensive coordinator, can get Genty more integrated in the offense, because I think, he needs to have, like I said, bare minimum 20 carries, or maybe he needs 25 or pretty close to, maybe not 30 carries, but 20 carries and 5 or 6 receptions. Got to get him more integrated in this offense, especially again short intermediate passes to help, especially help Geno Smith, so he's not taking so many deep shots and so many opportunities for the ball possibly to get intercepted or a turnover. So next, I will go with the offensive line. Offensive line currently right now, I would give a D, but I do think that they're trending up. Kind of similar to what I was talking about with Ashton Genty. They've had a kind of a rough patch, rough stretch. Colton Miller obviously going out does not help the situation right now, currently for the Raiders. But they look like they're, they kind of have a path moving forward. Now I have 4 tight ends, so I'm expecting to see a lot more 12, 13 personnel. 2 tight ends or 3 tight end sets. I'm thinking you're going to see a lot more 13 personnel with 3 tight end sets. And that way you can have, Mayer and you can have Bowers, and that can kind of be your pseudo, 3 or 4 wide receiver, quote unquote, or one of them will kind of chip to help out with the block and then release on short yardage passes. But, the offensive line as a whole has got to, help and assist. Keep the pocket clean for Geno. They did give up quite a few sacks there the first 3 games, but no sacks last week against the Chicago Bears. So that was great to see. Jackson Powers-Johnson back at right guard was huge for this team. Guy showed, again, absolute mauler. I've always compared him to Richie Incognito, and he looked very Richie Incognito-esque last week against the Bears. Hopefully that continues. Dylan Parham kind of shaky there at the start of the season. Seems like he's rounding into form and is a lot better. He had a great game last week. DJ Glaze has kind of been shaky. They've been using usually tight ends a little bit more on his side to help Chip. This is going to have to be a collaborative effort moving forward, especially again with Colton Miller being out. I think this is going to, regardless, even if Colton was healthy, is going to kind of be a week in and week out evaluation of this unit. I think in the draft they will definitely be drafting at least bare minimum 2 guards. We'll see if Charles Grant gets any play now with Colton Miller being out, or if they're just going to roll with Stone Forsythe and keep a tight end on his side. So I'm sure they're going to monitor that very closely. Pete Carroll said that even in the presser yesterday. He's kind of on a short leash as far as Stone Forsythe at left tackle. So next position, tight ends. Tight ends has been tough. Brock Bowers, Ian Thomas, Michael Mayer, and now Carter Runyon. I'm going to give this this group a C-. Injuries have really kind of derailed this unit. They had a great first game against the Patriots. Also in that game was when Brock Bowers had a sprained knee. And Brock has been, 60 to 70, 75% ever since then. Not really running as many deep routes. But he's out there and he's competing, no pun intended, but he is, such a vital weapon for the Raiders, but you can tell the offense has changed a ton since Brock Bowers had this injury. I'm thinking from the Patriots game till now, this will probably be the healthiest that he's felt since the injury. So I will expect an uptick in production. Michael Mayer had that vicious concussion against the Commanders. Hopefully he can play on Sunday. Still have to wait and see. He's currently questionable. Ian Thomas has been solid, but has kind of been regulated more to blocking, as I said before, due to the issues that the offensive line is currently having and having to have more of the tight ends help chip and help block. And Carter Runyon as well had a great preseason. See if he can do that moving forward. Now, this is a lot of it dependent on the offensive line. If Stone Forsythe can be solid, I'm not expecting Pro Bowl or Colton Miller type production from Stone Forsythe, but if he can be productive, it's going to allow opportunity for the tight ends, especially on that left side, to kind of work that shorter intermediate game as far as the passing game to kind of help and assist out with Geno Smith. So this will be something, again, for the rest of the season that they'll have to monitor moving forward with tight ends. But I think as they get healthier, they will be more productive, especially in 12 and 13 personnel. Next is the wide receivers. Wide receivers, I gave a C. Actually, of all the position groups offensively, they have the highest grade. So you've got Dante Thornton Jr., you've got Trey Tucker, you've got Jacoby Myers, and you've got Jack Besh as well currently as far as the wide receivers, Alex Boxman as well. But I would give this unit a C. So far, Trey Tucker has been the number one wide receiver for the Raiders. May not be with stats, may not currently be the most with yards, but explosive plays, just kind of that Swiss Army knife as far as jet sweeps, short slants, deep posts, everything that they're asking Trey Tucker to do, he's doing at a high level. Geno Smith gave him a credible endorsement in saying, he feels like his game reminds him a lot of Santana Moss. And I do kind of see that. In Chip Kelly's offense, Chip Kelly also had Deshaun Jackson. But I like the Santana Moss comparison, a little more short, compact wide receiver that, again, can be kind of a Swiss Army knife for Geno on the offensive side. But with the offensive line issues and also Geno trying to force the ball, they really haven't been able to get the production that they really, really need to get this offense going. Jacoby Myers has been consistent. Definitely one of Geno's favorite targets on both of the two of the three interceptions. He was throwing to Jacoby Myers, but he was, you know, basically in double coverage. So it's kind of hard for the receivers to really shine and be as productive as expected or as we think that they can be with the turnovers. The turnovers are absolutely killing the Raiders right now. It's killing drives. It's killing momentum. It's keeping that defense out on the field much, much longer than they would like to be. But the wide receiver core as a whole, you know, Dante Thornton had a good first game. He's kind of had splash plays, a few here and there, but it's been kind of relatively quiet since week one. You know, he's a rookie. He's going to have to work on separation and finding ways to get more open. Had a crucial drop against the Bears in the red zone that could have possibly put the Raiders up 9 and could have kind of been that kill shot in that game. You know, but he's a rookie. He'll get better. I would like to see Jack Bech get more snaps. I've said this since the start of the season. I think he's a player that could be utilized. Definitely short intermediate passes, loves to get in there, loves to block. You know, I think he can blossom. I don't know if that would require him taking snaps from somebody else, but I would just like to see him out there more and, you know, get some plays and get something run for him because defenses really are not keying in on him. I think he can make some splash plays and really help this offense out. So, as a whole, for this offense, currently right now, I give them a solid D. Again, everything kind of ties in. As offensive line block better, the run game gets going. As the run game continues to get going, that allows play action to get going. As play action gets going, you have the possibility for more splash plays down the field, but the shorter intermediate allow those wide receivers to get those yak yards. So hopefully that's something that they can fix and work on moving forward now into the second quarter of the season. On the defensive side of the ball, first we're going to go with the defensive line. Defensive line has been solid in parts, so I'm going to give them a C currently right now. It's really kind of been the interior. Interior's kind of been a little bit hot and cold. Adam Butler, kind of a slow start to the season. Tyree Wilson has 2 sacks already in the season. He's been solid, but at times it's been a little hit or miss with him, but I think he will continue to improve as he gets more snaps. He's really kind of been almost a 50-50 split and has been working defensive end along with interior on the D-line. Malcolm Kuntz had looked great in the game against the Bears, had a lot of pressure, so I think he's rounding into form from that ACL knee injury. Max Crosby's been playing like a man possessed in that game versus the Bears, got his first interception. I think he will continue to be Max Crosby, one of the top 5 defensive ends in the NFL, but he needs help. And, you know, I feel like this has kind of been a broken record for Max over the years, but, you know, it's something that, you know, he needs help and he needs assistance with. So hopefully that's moving forward, this unit can, you know, can kind of gel and be able to get that consistent pressure week in and week out. It's crucial to this defense. And I'm going to get into the reasoning why with that. But overall, again, solid, but nothing spectacular yet from this defensive line. Linebackers, I'm going to give a B-. Kind of got exposed a little bit, especially in coverage in the game against Chicago. Caleb Williams, very mobile quarterback, kind of gave them problems there in the second half. But overall has been a really, really solid group. You know, Devin White, tackling machine. Again, got exposed a little bit in the in coverage, but, you know, Devin White is not, you know, an elite coverage linebacker, and that's not what you brought him there for. Jamal Adams has been a great reclamation project along with Devin White. Has played well. He needs more snaps. He's kind of almost been like the Jack Besh on the defensive side of the ball. Got to find ways to get him out there more. Jermaine Pratt has been solid. Landon Roberts had the shoulder sprain in week 1. Still out there playing, has a brace. It's kind of been up and down a little bit at best. But these guys have been phenomenal against the run. And will continue to need to do that, minus the Commanders game where they gave up almost 200 yards rushing. Tackling's got to get better. But I think moving forward, this is going to be a very crucial part of the defense to help and assist with the defensive line. And again, it all ties in. As the defensive line is playing better, linebackers, can get closer to the line of scrimmage, blitz on certain packages to help and assist in getting pressure on the quarterback. But these guys can be elite run stuffers. Just got to put everything together. They've been top 15 against the run so far, the first 4 games. So I'm looking for that to continue. Secondary has been rough. I would currently give them a D+. Caillou Blue Kelly looked good first game season against the Patriots, looked decent against the Chargers, and now he's starting to get picked on a little bit by quarterbacks. It's a very young secondary, but you've got Darian Porter, you have Caillou Blue Kelly, you've got Eric Stokes, you have DeCamerion Richardson, who will be coming back from his hamstring injury. Full participant in practice on Wednesday. Eric Stokes kind of has been the gem so far in this unit. Had a lot of injuries with Green Bay. Fortunately, had the knee sprain last week against the Bears. But looks like he's going to be good to go for the game on Sunday against the Colts. More than likely, they will probably put him on Michael Pittman Jr. This unit they only have 1 or 2 interceptions. One by Isaiah Polamau in the safety room, and then one by Max Crosby. They've got to find a way to be able to create and get turnovers, but again, what I was saying before, the defense all ties in. Raiders are probably middle of the pack as far as sacks, but they've got to create more sacks. And I also want to give a shout out to Jonah Lalulu in the for the defensive line. 3 sacks. He's in the top 15. He's got to continue with that, especially with the loss of Christian Wilkins. But when you get back with the secondary, it's tough when the quarterback has plenty of time in the pocket to make reads, make passes, and kind of dissect, who will break open. Because even your most elite corner cannot cover for 5-7 seconds, or however long that the quarterback has in the pocket, and he has no pressure. But again, this is a young unit. Darian Porter, I expect to get more snaps moving forwards, play a lot of special teams, but played snaps in Eric Stokes' absence last week. Hopefully he can continue to build on that. This unit really could use a veteran. I'm sure, that depending on where this team is at, they may still bring a vet in, but a very young secondary. That's why it's so important for the linebackers and that defensive line to kind of help and assist that corner room and the secondary as a whole as far as in getting pressure on the quarterback. Last, we have the safety room, Isaiah Polamau, Jeremy Chin. I'm going to give this unit a D currently so far. Isaiah Polamau is a strong safety. He's it's his first year. He played it sparingly, and with Josh McDaniels, with Patrick Graham defensively. That's the defense coordinator that he's had since he's got here, and last year as well, but played a lot more in the box. Used him on blitzes, kind of was that Swiss Army knife on the defense side of the ball. Now he's a center fielder. Before that was the role carried by Trayvon Merrick, who's now with the Carolina Panthers. But, teams are really starting to get him isolated, especially in the red zone, and kind of picking him apart. Jeremy Chin has kind of been more of that box safety coverage. I haven't really seen him too much as far as blitzing the quarterback or stopping the run or anything like that. The Lonnie Johnson injury, I think Lonnie Johnson probably was going to be kind of more the free safety, but there's no true free safety on this team. You've got Chris Smith as well, but he's played sparingly, more kind of regulated to special teams. It's kind of been tough for this safety room. And again, all of that ties in. That if you're not getting pressure on the quarterback, it allows that quarterback, to pinpoint, okay, we see pull him out, or where's Chin at? Okay, almost more a single high safety look. Moving forward, be interesting to see how they decide to kind of modify their defense moving forward. But, again, got to get pressure, better coverage from the linebackers. It's been tough on the safeties as well. Special teams, I'm unfortunately going to have to give an F to the special teams. I think a lot of it is, AJ Cole has been AJ Cole. Daniel Carlson has been Daniel Carlson. It's just been a lot of bonehead penalties, holds on kickoff returns, holds on punt returns, people not being in on their assignments as far as block kicks, giving up long kickoff returns, long punt returns. They completely got obliterated against the Commanders and special teams. And I'm going to get into the grades for the coaches here shortly. But it has been abysmal. And the Raiders historically over the years have been borderline elite on special teams. This year, not the case. I'm not sure what's going on, but a lot of things need to get cleaned up there. Now, the coaches. I'm going to do kind of just as a whole. As a whole, I would give them a D. I think offensively, Chip Kelly, people have commented and mentioned saying, he's going from college to the pros, but Chip Kelly has been offensive coordinator in the NFL. He's been a head coach in the NFL. For me, I'm just not seeing the correlation or what's going on here or what's clicking. It kind of feels like the movie Grumpy Old Men. You've got a lot of grizzled vets as far as coaching that kind of seem set in their ways. Adjustments, modifications need to be made. Before they're made, that they're very set in how they want to do things, but that's not currently what's working. Whether it was, the whole Jackson Powers Johnson situation, but I personally think that was more precautionary because he had the concussion. But, a lot of people wanted to see him at guard. Or at center instead of guard. We've talked about this on previous pods. This particular regime wants to see him at guard. Okay, just roll with that. Finding ways, implementing more plays to get that short yardage going really hasn't been done by Chip Kelly. The underutilization of Jack Besh. Just it feels like the coaches are just kind of set in their ways, and it's taking, okay, now we've got Genty going. Okay, now we've got, certain situations. We got to throw this wrinkle here. Okay, we see this works. Okay, we need to try that. Instead of just going, it feels like with the same plays and kind of the same ideology moving forward from week to week. I kind of get that vibe also from Pete Carroll and pressers. He kind of seems a little agitated with a lot of the questions that people are asking him, which is understandable. I'm sure that goes, that's par for the course in being a head coach of an NFL team. But moving forward, just like to see some modifications and just, changes with the offense. It's going to have to be more 12-13 personnel, again, to keep Geno upright, but to use and to utilize that, short to intermediate passes. Everything cannot be a deep, 30, 40-yard pass down the field. Teams have caught on to that. And those are things people have said. Other content creators have said it. This is going to be an explosive offense. They're taking away the explosive plays. So now the modifications need to be made. Special teams as well. Tom McMahon, don't know quite what's going on. There have been rumblings and rumors, ex-players even saying, they didn't think he was a good special teams coach when he was in Denver. He's got to make modifications and also be better on the coaching side of things. Patrick Graham, really it's kind of been injuries that have kind of hurt this team, but also it's the collaboration with Pete Carroll. Still giving up passes, a lot of passes in the middle of the field. And last week it was kind of a soft zone coverage that allowed Caleb Williams to really matriculate the ball down the field and for them to score that game-winning touchdown to win by 1 point. Again, it's a young secondary, but it's getting to the point you're going to have to sometimes take some risk and take some chances and be more aggressive to make some plays. I would say out of the three coaches, I would give Patrick Graham the highest grade out of the three individually, but as a whole, the Raiders, it's been tough so far these first 4 games of the season. So moving forward, things that I would like to see, again, this is a progress report. Continue to improve in the run game. You've got to make chicken salad out of chicken shit as far as with how things have gone on the offensive side of the ball. Got to utilize your tight ends. Give her, ebb and flows. Get them involved in the passing game. They also need to help out in the blocking to help with this run game, which I think is emerging. Mostert and Genty, I think you're going to see them get a lot more carries, and they're going to be more of an integral part of this offense. I think this offense is going to evolve more into a run-heavy team, run-first team to set up the pass. Not the pass to set up the run, but the run to set up the pass. It has to, moving forward, it has to go that way, or, this season could mirror the 4-13 season last year. Wide receivers, I think as they get better coverage, get better blocking on the offensive side of the ball, are going to be able to get more involved in the passing game. I don't foresee that. I see that moving forward being that, but the run will have to set that up. Defensively, more pressure on the quarterback. Linebackers continue to play well against the run. Get teams in those 3rd and long yardage situations. Safeties got to clean up, got to, limit the big plays. But again, all these units all tie in as they all play well and continue to improve and kind of limit their mistakes. I think we'll see more wins, not only in the second quarter, but for the rest of the season. So the next 4 games, the end of that, so it will be the bye week, week 9 after, I believe that. So they have the Colts, they have the Titans, and they have the Chiefs. That will put them at, I think it would be 7 games. There might be another game after that, not exactly sure, but either way, after the next 4 games, then we will give our mid-season progress report. Same setup as before. We'll highlight some of the things we talked about here in the first quarter progress report, but it's something, again, we did this last year. We will continue to do this. It's been a tough year, guys. 1-3 so far for the Raiders. I do think that they will improve. It's a super young team. I think it's one of the 5 youngest teams currently in the NFL. I think they will get better over time. Just got to gel and correct some of the reoccurring mistakes that are happening week to week. But I2G Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, also Viva Las Raiders on YouTube. D Nice, I2G Radio signing off. Peace.